尽夕阳柳岸，那些缠绵的往事，化作一缕青烟，已消失在远方。
A piece of country music of the beautiful south of the river bring us to the water towns in the southern China. The beautiful old houses sight along the clear river. Especially the tea rooms typically occupy the best corner of the town. The tea rooms are always full of people. Some sit near the window facing the river enjoying the natural views through the window. Some sit there simply enjoying their favorite tea. Also others gather together to around an old man who is busy telling classical stories. Everybody is enjoying their time in a peaceful afternoon. Tea Room Online is trying to bring you an experience of the similar enjoyment by providing you with jokes, humors, folk stories and others. Hope you can have a relaxed, happy and enjoyable time. Tea Room Online with 3 sections. Section 1, Happy Hour, bring you with jokes and humorous talks. Section 2, Stories and Legends. You will enjoy interesting stories about the world and people. Section 3, Solutions in the Calabashes. Provide solutions for the common problems from your PC and iPhone. In this issue's Happy Hour you will hear 3 humorous stories. 1. All except the music. 2. 1/2 or 5/10? 3. How many rabbits? In Stories and Legends, you will continue to hear a true story, a general with his 2 hens. In the final section of Solutions in the Calabashes, Nana will bring you how to screen mirror your iPhone onto your PC.
This is the Happy Hour.
Welcome to the Happy Hour. This time we will bring you 3 jokes. 1. All except the music. A keen young teacher wanted to introduce her class to the glories of classical music, so she arranged an outing to an afternoon concert. To make the occasion even more memorable, she treated everyone to lemonade, cake, chalks and ices. Just as the party was getting back into their coach, she said to little Sally, "Have you enjoyed yourself today?" "Oh, yes, miss," said Sally, "it was lovely. All except the music, that is."
2. 1/2 or 5/10?
In a math class, the teacher explained the meaning of 1/2 and 5/10 to the students. After everybody said they understood it, he began to ask questions. "Bob, please tell me, would you rather have 1/2 of an orange or 5/10? "I'd much rather have the half," Bob answered. "Think carefully, and tell me why," the teacher asked. "Because you lose too much juice when you cut the orange into 5/10. Bob answered immediately.
3. How many rabbits?
In the next class, the teacher thought the fraction might be too hard for his student to understand. So he asked some simpler questions this time. "Now, Bob, if I gave you 3 rabbits and then the next day I gave you 5 rabbits, how many rabbits would you have?" the teacher asked to Bob. 9, sir," Bob answered quickly. 9? Think again. The teacher said to Bob. "I am sure, I've got one already, sir," Bob answered.
Stories and Legends.
Chapter 4, Donkey Cart, ran from one village to the other, Crazy Wang, won one battle following one battle.
Soon after the Japanese surrendered to the Chinese army in the World War II, the Chinese internal war restarted again between the 2 old opponents Chiang and Mao. But this time, even Mao's power had grown much stronger than ever before. Chiang still had advantages in both soldier number and weapons. Mao was very ambitious and wanted to change the situation into his favor quickly. There were a series of intense battles between the 2 sides. Initially, Mao's troops still occupied the countryside and mountain areas. The living condition was very hard during that time. So the high official had a special rules about the families of the military officers, stating that the family was not allowed to follow the officer in the front line. They should stay back home in the safe areas. Shulan Han, the nurse of the 129th Division Hospital, got pregnant again, and his husband Crazy Wang wanted to take care of her life by himself. So he had a special cart built covered with a green bed sheet and driven by a black donkey. This cart followed Wang's troop from mountain to mountain and from village to village. One day, Wang's direct leader General Deng Xiaoping, yes, the later Chinese highest leader, came to inspect the troops, and he saw a donkey cart came down the hill. The cart stopped in front of him and got down the Mrs. Wang. She saluted to General Deng and said, "Military hospital nurse Shulan Hang, report to my commander." Deng went forward a few steps and saw the so-called donkey cart lady in his army. Once face to face to a young woman with a dirty face and messy hair, a piece of old uniform hardly covered her bulged belly. He had a hard time to find a right word to criticize such a disciplinary offender. He simply waved his hand and said, "It's too windy outside, go back to your cart." From then on, a rumor was spread that the donkey cart of Mrs. Wang was approved to go everywhere with Wang's army. During the 3 years of internal war before the form of PRC, the steppes of Wang and his troops covered over half of the China. He directed tens of important fights which accelerated the breakdown of Jiang's regime. Two of the representative battles Crazy Wang participated are Dingtao Battle and Rua Battle. In Dingtao Battle, that was fought in the September 1946 in the western part of Shandong province. In this area there are about 50,000 Mao's troops led by Deng Xiaoping. Crazy Wang was a division commander under Deng's command. Around them are the 300,000 Jiang's army intended to clamp Deng in the middle, form two sides. To break the clamp and destroy enemy's plan, Deng decided to gather locally overwhelming forces to give a heavy strike to the pioneer, the 3rd Division commanded by General Xin Zhao, who in turn directly associated to Chiang. The key for the action is to lure Zhao's troops into the nearby of a village called Daong Lake, where Deng's major forces would form a trap for Zhao. In a military meeting, Deng Xiaoping and other leaders discussed this plan to his division commanders and expected that one of them would voluntarily took this hard task. But the time passed minutes by minutes. The 6 division commanders were exchanging their eyes and kept silence. For the 6 divisions under Deng, Crazy Wang's is a younger one, not strong enough relatively. During the silence, Wang's crazy gene was expressed again. He suddenly stand up, dropped his hat on the table and said, "We 6th Division will go. I've talked with Vice Command too. You might remember this guy. He was the guy almost killed by Crazy Wang for revenging for his horses years ago, that we would take the task. We knew the fight will be a blooding one. For the final victory of our army, we were willing to make the sacrifice. If finally only a regiment was left, I would be the head of the regiment. If a company was left, I would be the head of that company." His request was approved, and as expected, a very intense battle was happened. With a price of about 3,500 life loss, over 1,000 are from Wang's 6th Division. The whole division of General Zhao was lured to and trapped in the village of Daong Lake, and more than 17,200 people were badly destroyed. Among them 5,000 were killed or wounded, 12,000 were captured together with their commander General Zhao. The other intensive battle was in the August of 1947, when Mao asked Deng Xiaoping to lead his troops to go further into the far internal area occupied by Chiang. especially the area called Debi Mountain that close to Jiang's capital Nanking and his central city Wuhan. By the middle August, most of Deng's troops had already passed many obstacles and were almost in their destination. But after Chiang saw through Mao's plan, he ordered his number 85 division to occupy the southern bank of the Ru River first. It was the key pass for Deng Xiaoping to take, and then asked the other 3 divisions to speed up the chasing to Deng from his back. These 3 divisions were only about 30 miles away from Deng. In August 23, 1947, Deng arrived at the northern bank of the Ru River. With him and his headquarters was the 6th Division commanded by Crazy Wang. It was a real critical time for Deng and his troops. If they could not pass the Ru River within the next day, they will be encircled and attacked by 3 times more troops. The next morning Wang ordered his favorite brigadier Yang Yin Xiao, and said to him, "Now I will give the majority of our forces to you to commanding. You have to, at any cost, take over the south bank by the noon time of tomorrow. I will stay here for the safety of the headquarters." With 5 hours bloody fight, and a price of over 600 life, Xiao controlled the south bank and repaired the bombed temporary bridge. Wang acted fast by the late afternoon, leading all the people of the headquarters past the Ru River, and then quickly crossed Y River, too. Finally arrived the destination in August 27 of 1947.
Chapter 5, Debating on the Point. Chairman Mao reflected the 5th battle, washing the shame, Corps 3 famed in Triangle Hill.
In Mach 18, 1951, as the commander of the 3rd Corps, Crazy Wang together with his Vice Commander General Du passed the Yalu River with this more than 100,000 people of troop, in name of volunteers, to participate the Korea War. The other 2 corps were the 9th and the 19th Corps at this time. The general commander of the Chinese People's Volunteers Army was General Peng Ruai. It's there, Wang met his Waterloo for the first time. His 180 Division was defeated completely by the United Army, captured alone were more than 7,000. But in a military meeting in the general headquarters held by the General Commander Peng, Wang took some responsibility for the loss but frankly pointed out many defects of the original battle plan prepared by the higher authority. Especially the chasing action was too ambitious, ignored the poor material supporting capability. He also challenged the military order before the battle that transferred his majority of force to the direction of other corps. You chase the enemy by walking for 1 week, and then the soldiers, found with no food and no ammunition, had to retreat. By then, the United Army could make a counterattack easily in only 1 day by their trucks and tanks and defeat us, he said. This is to send our soldiers to the hell, he continued. Everybody was shocked by his speech and the air of the meeting room became intense. In this awkward situation, the meeting host Vice General Commander Deng Hua stood up and said, "Okay everybody, it's the lunch time. The meeting will continue in the afternoon." It was said that these words Crazy Wang said were passed to Beijing. Chairman Mao had to reflected the previous plan by saying that, "We were too ambitious, too hurry, went too far." For many months following his 180 Division was defeated, smile never appeared on the face of Crazy Wang. "It's a big shame for him. Even in the dream, he murmured, we have to get it back, get it back." His change came in the October 1952 when the commander of the 8th Military Group of the United Army, 4-star Admiral Van Fleet decided to wipe out the Communist Army occupied on Triangle Hill. He expected to use this victory of fight to draw a period for his more than 30 years of military career. But unfortunately, this time his opponent was Crazy Wang. The primary plan for Admiral Fleet was to eliminate everything on the hill in less than 3 days. But the operation was going not so fluently. The Chinese army defending the hill was the 15th Division, belonged to the 3rd Corps under the command of Crazy Wang. After the loss fighting in the 5th battle, the Chinese volunteers became smarter. To avoid being bombed by the planes and cannons from United Army, they learned from Groundhog to dig holes and tunnels under the ground. The second strategy is to divide the troop into many small batches. When the fighting happened, only a small batch of army used to confront the enemy. This greatly reduced the casualties of soldiers. Gradually, the forces of the United Army was increased to 60,000 with about 300 cannons, 170 tanks and Air Force assistance. With 7 days intensive fighting, Wang's 15th Division got a heavy casualties. Commander Wang ordered his 12th Division to join the battle. The planned 3 days fight became one of the largest battle in the history, which lasted for 43 days. At the end, the Chinese Volunteers Army had a casualty of over 10,000, reached 25% of the total forces. On the other hand, the United Army, according to the Chinese statistics, beyond a 40% of casualty, lost 270 airplanes, 14 tanks and more than 60 heavy cannons. This battle washed his shame on the loss in 5th battle and gained a new fame for him and his 3rd Corps. The story of the battle was made into a movie named Shang Gong Ling, meaning the Triangle Hill. It's interesting that this movie, even its music, has been given broad political meaning. It even becomes an indicator for the Sino-America relationship. Whenever it becomes tension, this movie will be playing all over the nation. One weird thing is that, in January 2011, in a party held by President Obama to welcome the Chinese president who in White House, the famous pianist Long Long was invited for playing. The name of the music he played was My Motherland, a song from the movie Triangle Hill.
Chapter 6, Keeping Promise. Gave her newborn daughter to his driver, planting trouble seeds, wife accumulated complaints to husband.
Crazy Wang was named as the vice commander of the Beijing military district after he backed to China from Korea. He had a driver named Ju, who has been working for him for many years. From a chat with Ju in Korea, he knew that Zu's wife has problem for having a baby. He comforted Ju that, "Don't worry, after we come back to China, I will help you to find a best doctor for your wife, in case that it doesn't work, my first new baby in the future, no matter a boy or girl, I will give the baby to you." In the November of 1953, the once donkey cart lady, now a doctor of the General Hospital of the Navy, the wife of Commander Wang, gave a new baby girl. This was her 6th kid she gave. She was so happy because the baby looked very much alike her first girl who was lost during the wartime. She gave a nice name to the baby as Yuan Yuan. Her happy did not last long before Commander Wang told her that he had promised to give this baby to his driver Ju. She got so shocked and angry, shouting to Wang, "Why you had this stupid idea? You don't have the right to do so. Your heart is even colder than animal." Wang simply kept silence, realizing that things were not as easy as he thought before. For some time he didn't mention this issue. But he told Ju that they had to have a longer strategy. Since then, Wang, Ju and Zu's wife started an action that lasted for 3 years. First, Commander Wang asked a favor for Zu's wife for helping to send and pick up this child to and from the daycare center. And somehow Ju and his wife visited their boss home more often. And every time they visit, they would bring some home-cooked food and small clothes Zu's wife made for Yuan Yuan. Sometimes after picking up, Zhu's wife would first took the girl to her own home staying for a while. The 3-year warm-up strategy proven effective. On the day when Yuan turned to 3 years old, Wang talked again over this issue to his wife. This time she didn't say no, considering that the kid would still be around with her. Even so, she was still not really happy with this silly decision of her crazy husband. For the little Yuan, it seems a good thing. She grown up with the double care and double love from 2 mothers and 2 daddies compared with her sisters and brothers.
This brings to the end of the story of General and his 2 hens for today. Please click the subscribe button for continue to listen next week. Solutions in the Calabashes is the last section in Tea Room Online. It will provide you with answers to the basic questions about your PC and iPhone.
Finally, it's the time for solutions in the Calabashes. Today we will share with you the techniques for using your PC and your iPhone too. How to screen mirror your iPhone to your PC. 1. Preparations. 1. On your iPhone, click App Store, search for Let's View, click Install. 2. On your PC, go to www.letsview.com, download Let's View for Windows. 2. Screen mirroring operation. On your PC, click and open Let's View software. Register or sign in with your Google account information. Write down the displayed code. On your iPhone, click Let's View. Enter the code from your PC. Open iPhone control page. Click Screen Mirroring. Choose and click the name of your PC. Screen mirroring starts.
Thank you for visiting Tea Room Online. If you like our program, please click the subscribe and the PayPal buttons for your supporting. See you again next week.